how many times or how often do we almost put on a shield or put on a mask and go to a job or go to that meeting or go visit that family, or and we can lose ourselves. And it's having the strength and the courage to keep ourselves in these situations where we have lost ourselves, if that makes sense. And talking about that, it's a few of our listeners are employed, and they're finding ways that they can have more life in their life, or finding ways to reconnect with themselves. How do you find your balance? Because I mean, you did mention it earlier, you go to work, and then when you leave the office you shed that person, and your life is your family and what you do out of work. But work is a part of your day. It is a chunk of your life. And how do you find that balance of being you and balancing this job and having your life, so to speak? So you said that you have your life and then you have the job. Is finding that balance what has worked for you, just to help some of our listeners who are in that place of wanting to create more, but they need to have that security of the job, whether it's for health benefits or financial. Not everybody is in a position to just go self-employed or chuck in the job or whatever, but to have that life, or that more life in one's life, is creating that balance. So what have you done that helps you to be the John at work and the John at home? What's the little bridge in between?
Yeah, the bridge. Yeah, I mean, I'm a work in progress, so I'll just say that again. There's no right or wrong with that. The balance is tough, and when you throw kids into the mix and family and life, it's wild, right? I mean that is the wild ordinary right there. Just trying to keep it all squared away. Um, Time has been my friend, I guess, in this sense. Um, the day job, being employed in a sense. I mean, I have that. A lot of the people that I interact with are entrepreneurial and doing their own thing, and maybe I had a piece of that. I feel like I've always had one foot in the door, one foot out the door. I have the day job, but then I had photography business, and I had an outlet for those things. So I think having outlets is key. To doing that. And I mean, it's taken me many years to sort of open up with the people around me on the day job. um, I've just tried not to force it, and that it's it's okay if things aren't the same for whatever reason. I think and that's going to vary for everybody, just depending upon what's happening. um, I recently, I mean, this is within the last couple of weeks, I interviewed for another position within the company. My boss's job became available, and I didn't prepare for the interview. I didn't want to be canned. I wanted to have an honest conversation, which I sort of fumbled with in the beginning, but then sort of found my sea legs, and I was just me. And probably for the first time, not for the first time, but just in a growing way, just was just me. And there was no performance there. I wasn't trying to say what I knew they might want to hear. I just was just, hey, this is the way it's landing with me, and this is how I'm responding. And when I was done with that interview, when it was over, because it was a panel of 4 people, and I ended the call, I cried. It just, I guess, I guess I was, I guess in the simplest way, I guess I was just proud of myself for just doing that. And, it's taken 52 years to get here. So for anybody that's doing this, I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to take that same amount of time. I'm just, I'm a little slow. you know, whatever it is. But I mean, there's really no right or wrong with any of it. I think that's the thing. I think everybody's looking, oh, well, this is what you're doing. This must work for me, that sort of thing. And I think a lot of times the answer is we sort of know it and feel it intuitively, but if you know we're afraid for whatever reason to to trust in ourselves, right? I mean, we might fall down, we might do this, we might fail, or it might not land well, we might not get the job, the thing might not happen. But there's I guess there's a disservice that we do to ourselves when we try to do what other people are doing outside of just following what we're intuitively sort of feeling. And I think that part of it just, it takes time or experience. I don't know. Sometimes it might be a traumatic event in your life that has this. Sometimes it's just life itself. You got to a certain point. Maybe midlife has a lot to do with it as well. I mean, that's where a lot of my LinkedIn friends and I were all of the same sort of age and time frame, and parent or no parent, but just the same thoughts on life, and just trying to make an impact, and wanting to be happy and wanting to make ends meet. um, the ultimate answer for all of us might look a little different. Um, but I might fall back on what I said earlier, that we just maybe have to not overthink it, go with what feels right. And that might not look the same every day. I think, we all wake up on one side of the bed or the other, depending upon the given day or month or time of year or anything. But, you know, wherever we find ourselves, it's okay. You know, it's okay. And, we'll get through. And um, the benefit that I feel that I have now is I've opened up, you know, a lot of the thoughts and feelings that are swirling around here and here, and I'm sharing them more with other people, so I'm not struggling alone. I'm not chewing on these things, or these larger than life sort of philosophical sort of things, in a silo. So I think if anything, maybe that's the takeaway that I'd say to people, that there are other people out there that are feeling like you, are definitely going through the same things or worse. Um, Surrounding yourself with other people is helpful, as opposed to isolating yourself and feeling like you can do it all by yourself. I'm definitely much more open than I was ever before. Earlier in my life, I got this, I can handle this, whatever it is. I didn't want to embrace help or insight, or just sharing it for, I don't know, probably a myriad of different reasons, or fears, or just being vulnerable. But um, you know, being vulnerable, I think, is the thing. You know, yeah. I mean, just sort of you know, sharing, when we sort of share our hearts and where we're at, it's easier to see and to fall into rhythm with other people, and for them to to feel where you're, and just more times than not, you'll automatically feel the support, and people come swooping in. I mean, that you never would have imagined. I mean, and I mean, you can look at it anywhere. As soon as you see someone that's in distress, I mean, unless you're off by yourself, I mean, you'd never know, right? But as soon as you sort of put yourself out there, and people know that there's a need in some way, shape, or form, um, help will come. It just will. And if it doesn't, just, hey, call me. reach out. I'm here. I'll help any which way that I can. And anybody that knows me knows that that's, that's the burden. That's the cross that I bear, is just, I like feel like I just want to help everybody. And that's probably yeah, that's probably the largest thing that I'm carrying in my backpack is, as soon as I know someone else has got something else going on and they're having troubles, and, I tend to carry it with me too. Right or wrong,